Have you tried to buy physical silver lately? If you have, you might have noticed something strange. The premiums are high, the delivery times are getting longer, and the inventory at your local dealer seems to be shrinking. Most people think this is just standard inflation or retail demand. They are wrong. Something much bigger and much more terrifying is happening in the global precious metals market. While the Western media is obsessed with the price of gold and the fluctuations of Bitcoin, a massive, coordinated operation is taking place in the shadows. It is happening quietly. It is happening methodically. And it is being orchestrated by one single player, China. For the last 24 months, data shows that Beijing has been vacuuming up the global supply of silver at a rate that defies economic logic. They are buying it from Mexico. They are buying it from Peru. They are draining the vaults in London and New York. Why is a superpower aggressively hoarding a metal that Wall Street treats as a mere industrial commodity? The answer isn't just about money. It's about war. Not a war of missiles, but a war of resources. China knows a secret that the West has forgotten. You cannot build the future without silver. You cannot build a solar panel, an electric vehicle, a cruise missile, or a 5G tower without this specific metal. By the end of this video, you will understand why the current price of silver is a lie, why the physical shortage is mathematically guaranteed, and why China's silent hoard might be the trigger that collapses the US dollar's dominance once and for all. To understand the magnitude of what is happening, we have to look at the inventories. For decades, the London Bullion Market Association, LBMA, and the COMEX in New York were the overflowing warehouses of the world. They held hundreds of millions of ounces. They set the price. But starting in roughly 2020, those inventories began to plummet. We are talking about steep vertical drops. Millions of ounces leaving the vaults every single month, never to return. Where is it going? If you track the shipping manifests and the flow of metal, the arrow points in one direction, east, specifically to the Shanghai Gold Exchange and the strategic reserves of the Chinese state. This is what we call the silent hoard. Unlike their gold purchases, which they occasionally announce to the world to flex their economic muscles, their silver accumulation is kept off the books. They don't want the price to spike, yet. They want to acquire as much physical metal as possible at suppressed prices. It is the classic strategy of a smart whale investor. You don't buy everything at once and spike the market. You buy slowly, consistently, and quietly. You drain the liquidity until one day the market wakes up and realizes there is nothing left to buy. Now you might be asking, why silver? Why not copper? Why not platinum? Here is the kicker. China isn't hoarding silver just to store wealth. They are hoarding it because they literally cannot survive without it. China has bet its entire economic future on dominating the green energy transition. They want to be the world's leader in solar power and electric vehicles. And here is the inconvenient truth of physics. Silver is the most conductive metal on Earth. It is irreplaceable. Let's look at the numbers. The solar industry alone is now consuming nearly 20% of the entire annual global supply of silver. And who manufactures over 80% of the world's solar panels? China. Newer solar technologies like Topcon and HJT cells are more efficient, but they require nearly double the amount of silver paste compared to older panels. As the world pushes for net zero, and governments in Europe and the US subsidize solar energy, they are inadvertently creating a massive demand shock for silver. China sees this coming. They know that in 5 years, the demand for industrial silver will outstrip the mining supply by hundreds of millions of ounces. By hoarding the metal now, they are effectively cornering the market on the energy infrastructure of the 21st century. Imagine a scenario where Ford or Tesla cannot build cars, or a US defense contractor cannot build guidance chips, because they cannot source silver. Who will they have to buy it from? Beijing. And Beijing will name the price. This leads us to the mathematical reality that Wall Street is ignoring. The silver market is in a structural deficit. For the last 3 years in a row, the world has consumed more silver than it has produced. In 2022 and 2023, the deficit was hundreds of millions of ounces. We are digging into above-ground stockpiles just to keep the lights on. Mining supply is flat. You cannot just flip a switch and open a new silver mine. It takes 10 years to permit and build a mine. But demand is exponential. This is where China's strategy becomes genius. They know that the West suppresses the price of silver through the paper futures market. Banks like JP Morgan trade paper silver, contracts that claim to represent silver, hundreds of times more than the actual physical metal exists. This keeps the price artificially low, around $25 or $30 an ounce. China is using this suppressed price to their advantage. They are saying, "Thank you very much. If you are foolish enough to sell us real physical silver for $30, we will take every single ounce you have." They are exploiting the West's financial manipulation. The West is playing a casino game with paper contracts. China is playing a resource game with physical atoms. And in the long run, atoms always beat paper. There is a darker side to this story, one that goes beyond solar panels and Teslas. It is the military dimension. Silver is a strategic metal. During World War II, the US government used silver from the treasury to make the magnets for the uranium enrichment plants that built the atomic bomb. Today, silver is found in every sophisticated piece of military hardware. It is in the contacts of the control boards of fighter jets. It is in the batteries of torpedoes. It is in the satellite systems that guide our missiles. China is currently undergoing the largest peacetime military buildup in history. They are building a navy to rival the US. They are expanding their nuclear arsenal. All of this requires silver. If a conflict were to break out over Taiwan, global supply chains would shatter. The flow of silver from Mexico and Peru to China might be interdicted. China knows this. This silent hoard is also a strategic stockpile for war. They are ensuring that no matter what happens to the global shipping lanes, their factories can keep churning out missiles, drones, and electronics. They are essentially de-risking their military-industrial base. Meanwhile, the United States has sold off almost its entire strategic stockpile of silver. We used to have billions of ounces. Now, we have almost zero. We are completely exposed. So how does this end? What is the trigger event? The endgame is the breakage of the COMEX pricing mechanism. Right now, the price of silver is set in New York and London by bankers trading digital contracts. But there is a breaking point. As China continues to drain the physical metal from the West, the inventory at the COMEX is getting dangerously low. There is a specific term for what happens next: force majeure. This happens when the vaults are empty. A trader stands for delivery. They say, "I want my silver now," and the warehouse says, "We don't have it. We will settle your contract in cash." The moment the COMEX admits they cannot deliver the metal, the game is over. The link between the paper price and the physical price will snap. Paper silver will go to zero because it is a broken promise. Physical silver will go to the moon because it is the only thing that is real. China is accelerating this process. By utilizing the Shanghai Gold Exchange, they are creating a competitor to New York. In Shanghai, the price is often higher than in New York. This arbitrage draws metal out of the West and into the East. It is a giant vacuum cleaner sucking wealth out of the US system. When the dust settles, we could see a repricing of silver that makes the 1980 run look like a small blip. We aren't talking about $50 silver. In a world where industry needs it and supply is gone, $100, $200, or even higher is not just possible, it is probable. Finally, we have to look at the monetary aspect. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, are actively looking for an alternative to the US dollar. They have realized that the US dollar is a weaponized liability. If you hold dollars, your wealth can be sanctioned or inflated away by the Federal Reserve. The solution? A currency backed by commodities. Gold is the primary anchor, yes, but silver has historically been the people's money. It is the transactional metal. By hoarding gold and silver, China is preparing for a post-dollar world. They are building a balance sheet that is bulletproof. When the fiat currencies of the West, the dollar, the euro, the yen, collapse under the weight of their sovereign debt, China will be the last man standing with a vault full of real assets. They are following the golden rule. He who has the gold and the silver makes the rules. The silent hoard is real. The data proves it. The geopolitical incentives align with it. And the industrial demand makes it inevitable. We are witnessing the largest transfer of wealth in history, moving from the West to the East, from paper assets to hard assets. So what does this mean for you? It means the window of opportunity is closing. Right now, silver is still cheap. It is arguably the most undervalued asset on the planet, but it won't stay that way. When the news officially breaks, when mainstream media finally admits that China has cornered the market, it will be too late. The premiums will be 100%. The supply will be non-existent. You will be trying to buy insurance while your house is already on fire. Don't wait for the headlines. Look at the actions. Watch what the smart money is doing, not what they are saying. China is buying every ounce they can get their hands on. Maybe you should ask yourself, why aren't you? The economy is changing. The East is rising. And silver is the key to the kingdom. Thanks for watching. If you want to see the specific charts on the Shanghai inventory drain that I mentioned in this video, I've linked a deep dive report in the description below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next crisis won't be televised until it's already over.